The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 is the third Hunger Games film. This was released in 2014. It's directed by Francis Lawrence. It's written by Peter Craig and Danny Strong, with a cast including, of course, Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Liam Hemsworth, Woody Harrelson, and various others. And I only rewatched the first one for Woody Harrelson. I also watched the two after it for Woody Harrelson. And I thought the first film was really strong. The second film was almost as good. I don't think this third film is quite as good, but I'd say it's still pretty decent. It feels more realistic. And what I mean by that is the first two didn't feel like they could ever happen. Maybe that's naive of me, but I could never really imagine that being a reality. Whereas this one kind of feels like it could happen, and that's kind of scary. So it was a kind of different experience. But I will say, I know what to expect from the next film, because I feel like, well, this is part one, the next one is part two, so there's at least some kind of continuation of the narrative, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it didn't leave me desperate to find out what happens next, whereas with the other two, that was kind of the case. Everybody's up in arms, and they are rebelling against the capital, and that's what this is about. And Katniss is now the Mockingjay, which is the symbol of the rebellion. And the film is about everybody rebelling against the capital and the problems that come with that and what the capital do in response to this. And needless to say, it's dangerous. And I don't think it needed to be as long as it is. It's over 2 hours. It's just over 2 hours. It's about 2 hours. And with the first two films, I actually think, yeah, they did need to be that long. This one, not so much, especially as it goes on to have a second part. And maybe the second part, I don't know how long it is, but maybe the second part has a lot more substance. This one just didn't feel like it needed to be that long. It felt like bits were being dragged out. It's not as expertly crafted as the previous two films. Visually, though, yes, it's still very, very impressive. The characters are very well written. The performances are amazing. Jennifer Lawrence gives an absolutely incredible performance, and the emotions are real. The emotions in this feel so real, so believable, which again makes it a little scarier than the other two films, because it just feels like it's something that's more likely to happen, and that obviously makes for quite an interesting viewing experience. So in general, it's not bad on its own. Let's say this was the first Hunger Games film about people who rebel against the capital. I would have said, yeah, this is pretty fabulous. But I don't think it's the quality of the first two films. I don't think it's as interesting. I don't think the narrative is as interesting or as unique. But that being said, had they just made this about another Hunger Games, and it would have been, what, the 76, 77, I've lost count, I think the 76 Hunger Games, had that just been again, then maybe I would have said, well, they're just doing the same story again and again. So on the one hand, I feel like the other stories are more unique, but on the other, I don't blame them for doing something a little different, and I guess ramping up this rebellion. So, in general, I can't complain about the narrative. It's just not as good as the first two films. It's not as interesting as the first two films, but the characters are still great, the performances are great, visually it's fantastic. I'm not as excited about the next film as I was with watching this one and the previous one, but of course I will watch it, largely for Woody Harrelson. Whether I'll go any further than that, time will tell. But for now, I can say that Mockingjay Part 1 was an okay film. It's a good film. There's nothing about it that doesn't work well. It's not as strong as the previous two films, but ultimately, I was still pretty happy with the experience.